welcome. This is Election Desk on GhanaWeb TV. My name is George AEC. We are coming to you from the Congress grounds of the Opposition National Democratic Congress. This is their 10th annual Delegates Congress, and we are speaking to the 2020 Vice Presidential candidate of the NDC, Madam Jane Naana Opoku Agyemang, and she speaks to us about the results of these elections and other issues surrounding this country's economy, as well as the party's prospects going into the 2024 elections. What do you make of today's Congress?
The Congress itself has been very well structured, it's been very well organized, it's been peaceful. The delegates were about 9,000. We had over almost 2,500 police people, so you can keep adding. We had invited many people, and so it was quite a crowd in here. And yet everything has gone well so far, and I'm very thankful about that. Individuals put themselves out. The delegates have spoken, and we respect that very much. We don't like to impose. We respect everybody's views. They've chosen the people they want. But I don't think it means that those they didn't choose cannot work with us, with those who have won. You know, everybody brings something good. Everybody had a good intention. That was why they ran for the position. Yes, maybe it didn't end the way they wanted. But it doesn't mean that their ideas too don't matter. The ideas are still very valid. And by embracing everyone and making everybody feel that they are worthy, that is one way in which you can build whatever cracks, seal whatever cracks. That will definitely happen. Every competition, that whether it's sports, you just had the football. Some lose and they are not happy, they are blaming this and blaming the other person. That is what laws does. But if in a case like this, you are able to make people understand that, hey, things didn't go the way you wanted, but it doesn't mean that the ideas that drove you to run for the elections are not needed. Okay, so I'm quite satisfied about the way things have gone.
Talking about satisfaction, like I said, it's becoming obvious who is emerging winner in this context. Your party is seeking to capture power in 2024. Looking at the names that are coming up, how confident does that make you feel?
Oh, we are very, very confident about that. It's not just the names, it's also the process. You see? It's also the process, because you see people who are collaborating. Okay, you see people, they are congratulating each other, they're teasing each other. There's no acrimony. And that gives you the confidence to know that, yes, there's something you are doing right, which you have to do more of in order to come to power. And why not? You go into the competition to win. And we are very, very confident that with the group, and it's not just the national, we have them at the constituency, we have them at the branches. Okay, so remember, we started by rebuilding and rebranding our branches, because that is where it begins. So yes, they may have come, some may have come to vote, because it's not everybody who will vote. But we know and we trust and respect the work that everybody does. Whether they have a vote or whether they are delegate or not, they are all very important for us. So with that collective effort and a shared vision, there's no reason why we shouldn't come back in 2024, not just for ourselves or for our party, but for the country. You and I know what is going on. I don't have to run it. You know it, especially the young people. So now what do you do to become an entrepreneur? The big entrepreneurs have lost their businesses. So you see, it is creating a lot of mistrust in the system, which is very, very dangerous for us. Okay, so what we are saying is that yes, things are difficult. Yes, things are not working out the way I don't think even the government envisaged it. What we are saying is that come join us. We are not promising heaven, but together we can start slowly but surely to remove the bottlenecks, so we can all have a Ghana we want.
Let's talk a little bit about the current situation that we find ourselves in as a country. In your assessment of this entire government?
I'm not going to assess the government. I'm not going to have a grading system, or I'm going to have 100% and say, no, you know, in your own workplace, you can tell me how many new people have been employed this year, how many have lost their jobs. You know that, okay? We see it all over the place about people looking for jobs. We know the percentage of the youth unemployed in this country. We know what is happening to our economy. We all know within 1 month we passed from 40% to 50% inflation. That is worrying. Okay, we've seen what has happened to our local currency. We've seen how prices have just shot up through the roof, and our salaries have not matched up. All of these are real issues. Very, very real issues. We see what happens in our hospitals. We see the nature of our roads. I mean, we can go on. And all of these tell us that there's a lot of work to do. And unfortunately, our resources will not match the kind of work we need to do. And that is why we all, but I believe that Ghana doesn't lack enough people who can come together and all of us try to find solutions to our problems. So as a Congress, we embrace all ideas. We embrace everybody. We are not going to say, no, we don't like you, or no, we don't do that.
Final one for me. You have spoken a lot about the economy, but to hear the government blame Russia, Ukraine, and COVID for our current situation, do you think that is enough?
Oh, well, if they are blaming COVID and Russia and Ukraine for our problems, and they don't want to take responsibility, then they also cannot take responsibility, or they cannot take the benefits if they feel that things are working. Because all of these feed into the cynicism that is in the system. And that for me is very dangerous. If we cannot trust our leaders, then we have a problem. So if everything is Ukraine's fault, then what is it? Should we sit down until the war ends? Has the war ended? Assuming, when COVID came, I asked myself, so assuming the borders were closed longer, God forbid, but assuming that was the case, what should we do?
I think the government is not doing enough. I'm
not saying whether they are doing enough or not. I'm not here to judge them. I want to see the way out of this. If you feel everything is the fault of Russia and Ukraine, and the war hasn't ended, apart from blaming them, what should you be doing? What plans should you be putting, or should we wait till the war is over? You should be putting plans in place. When we were threatened by Ebola, we didn't sit and wait for Ebola to come. We started putting plans in place to ensure that should we be hit by this illness, what do we do? And that is the kind of leadership we want to see. Now we have what do we do in a structured, planned way so we can all follow? Who wants to starve to death? Who wants their water to be polluted? Nobody wants that. But we need a plan. That is why we have leaders in place. Okay?
You're talking about having a plan. There have been calls for this government to emulate what former President Mahama did, something like the Senchi conference or consensus, as you would like to call it.
You see, I started by telling you that we don't think for, we think with, because we respect the people we are working with. They also have ideas. You see, I may have the finest idea, but one head does not go into council. Okay? Run it by others. Let them also tell you what they think. And if you listen very closely, you'll see that you need to amend yours or even discard them because better ideas are coming. But if you are in a difficult situation, because you have not accepted responsibility, you don't even think that it's your job to find alternatives. And because it's not your responsibility, even when people offer alternatives, you don't seem to see it. if you had plans in place to deal with the difficulties you are facing, then when others come with ideas, you'll see where they fit in your scheme of things. You know, so whether he wants to take the ideas or not, it's up to us. It's up to the entire population. And going forward, we need to make a decision.
Final message to Ghanaians having concluded this Congress.
I will tell Ghanaians that, my fellow Ghanaians, that things are tough, but we shouldn't give up. We cannot afford to give up. They should come and join us. Those who haven't done it already. You don't have to be a member of the NDC to vote for us, because without the vote, you will not come into power. They need to come and join us, vote for and get us, and so that we can work together to remove the problems that we currently face. You know, whether slowly, but at least surely. You know, I don't think President Mahama is ever going to say it's not my fault. If it's not your fault, it means you have no plans of dealing with them. And yet you are leading people. A leader must take responsibility. You cannot just sit back and say, oh, now the city is falling, so it's because I've done something good. But if it loses, no, the city is rising. So if it loses value, then there's Russia. I mean, what is that? We need to take our population, our people seriously, show them respect. So what I want to say is that, as they can say, Achia Nemuye, we can straighten our country. No one is coming with some tall promises that we know we cannot fulfill. We are not going to say 1 million per constituency per year. We are not going to say 1 village, 1 dam. We are not going to say free SHS, and it turns out to be something else. That's not what we are going to do. We are going to sit down with all of us and say, here are the problems, what should we do? Many people who are not in those positions, it doesn't mean that, excuse me to say, they don't think. They also think, they also have plans, they also have ideas. Remember that prior to 2020 elections, President Mahama held the Speak Out tour. It wasn't about NDC people. You just go to a town, anybody could come, whether you sell in the market. You know, we respect people regardless what they do. We are not saying though because they are not of a certain class or so. No, they are also ordinary human beings, just like everyone else. So he did the Speak Out tour and he got the ideas also coming from people. So when finally we had the People's Manifesto, it was truly a People's Manifesto, because it wasn't something we wrote and then we went around to explain to people what's in it. They could already see themselves in it. You see, so all I'm saying is that, yes, it is tough. Yes, going forward, maybe even tougher, but with everybody's goodwill, with everybody's energy, with everybody's ideas, we also wish that we can remove the problems immediately. But to be realistic, that will not be the case. But we need to begin to work at the problems. We need to begin to proffer solutions to the problems. And together we can remove them slowly and we can begin to turn things around. Because we've gone too far behind. Thank you.
So for the NDC's 2020 vice presidential candidates, just like herself and other members of the party, she's very confident that with the people elected today to lead the party going into 2024, victory is assured for the NDC. This has been another episode of Election Desk on GhanaWeb TV. My name is George NC.